on commission and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus. Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
Did you know that fees associated with real estate closings are virtually the same from one title company to the next? So what sets South Oak Title apart? Effective communication, customer service, expertise, and technology. If you're buying or selling real estate, refinancing a residential or commercial property, tell your realtor you want to close with South Oak Title. South Oak Title, with locations across the Southeast, including Panama City Beach, Inlet Beach, Destin, and Fort Walton Beach. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
Homes are not all alike. Neither are home buyers. At The First, we understand. That's why we offer all kinds of options for all kinds of home buyers. Whether you're buying your first home or building your forever home, The First has you covered. We offer conventional loans, FHA loans, and USDA loans, as well as VA loans for military veterans, even construction to permanent loans. Ready to take the first step and buy your first home? We're here to help you make it possible. Qualified first-time home buyers may even be eligible for down payment or closing cost assistance. Whatever type of loan you choose, you'll receive prompt personal service from bankers who'll guide you through every step of the process. Don't let a loan stand between you and your dream. Call or visit your nearest The First location for details and get started on the road to your new home today. The First, just the bank for you. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 408229.
In times of war, peace, and every day in between, our military stays vigilant to protect our country. At Hope for the Warriors, we never forget them or the families who serve alongside them. Since 2006, Hope for the Warriors has provided life-transforming programs for active duty and veterans, military families and caregivers, families of the fallen. Go to hopeforthewarriors.org today.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn Haven, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of Sports Talk Radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now, we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Wednesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As always, 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach and most of Bay County, 101.9 in Port St. Joe along the beautiful Forgotten Coast. You can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, follow, whatever else you possibly can do. That is Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida. You can also download the free mobile app. And if you're going to be listening to any Mosley stuff at your house or, on the road, you can obviously do it in the car. And then, of course, you can do it right on a regular old handheld radio as well. That one, you do need to search up 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida to find that mobile app inside the Google Play or the Apple Store. You can also follow us on TikTok, inside.drive. Last but not least, head over to ESPNPC.com. Check out all the great information that we've got on that website, including KHS TV, which for one low monthly price, you pretty much can watch anything that is coming over a stream or an airway. So check that out, KHSTV.com. You got the TV logo right there on our home page. I don't have a poll question, and the poll,
I'm looking one up.
Are you? Nice.
I was thinking about one last night, and just like Jay, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
I forgot about
that.
it.
That happens to me all the time. I need to I get better about putting notes in the note thing in my phone, but I'm like, I'll remember that. That's very exciting, and then boom, it's gone.
It's always like, if it's important, I will remember it.
Yeah.
I guess it's just not that important then.
I guess not. The poll question here. But yeah, no, and speaking of important, we don't have Mr. Henley today, but I believe he is doing some admin stuff, taking care of everything as the season is underway. But the first match, I believe, is next week, if I am not mistaken. We got Keith Fleming coming up at the top of the hour. Looking forward to talking to him. And next week, this is hard to believe, next week, it's fantasy draft week. It's next Sunday, but it is next week. And Keith will be joining us in studio next Friday as he's coming down. They're going to come down Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and then stay for the draft. And then they'll be on their back to Atlanta on Monday. But we're looking forward to the draft.
Who do you think finishes higher in the Champions League? Will it be Brittany or Keith this year?
Ooh.
They need to make a bet.
Yeah, absolutely. Pre-draft, I'm going to say Brittany. Post-draft, I'll let you know based on their drafts.
How they draft.
Yeah, absolutely. But, there's just something about that. The husband and wife rivalry in fantasy football seems to always go to the wife. Beth played NHL fantasy with us once. This was many, many years ago. And I think she either won the league, but she finished significantly higher than I did. So there always goes to show you there's a lot of strategy, but of course there can be a little luck as well.
That one's always been the toughest for me by far, NHL fantasy, because I don't know half the guys. Like, you know what I mean? Even if I know them, I'm like, I don't recognize that name, and they all kind of look the same.
Absolutely. But, yeah, we're looking forward to the draft. Big shout-out to Domino's Pizza for providing some pizza for the draft, and, of course, PCB Hobby for letting us have the draft there. We're very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a big one. Just make sure you can be there.
And Coach Brian Haddad's going to be there. He's going to have, he's already pulling out some cards of the top draftees, the guys with the high ADP. So you can literally draft your team and then get the little singles of each of your guys, man. Get your little sleeve and have your fantasy lineup.
On card. That would be wild.
Card,
you purchase your entire fantasy lineup.
And then when you trade with someone, it's like, hey, let's trade the card.
Ooh, I like that.
There you go.
That. As long as they're base cards, because it could get a little crazy there if you start doing some autos and some relics and some numbers and all that.
I highly doubt someone's going to, trade a relic for a base card, but who knows what he's going to have there. And I guess if you want to be a big spender, you can be a big spender.
Yeah, absolutely. Michigan Eddie just texted me asking when the draft and where. I believe we are on a waiting list, if we're not mistaken there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to check and see. He might be on the list. He might not be. I'm going to be reaching out to people starting next week just to kind of confirm. Are you still good for August 25th, 6:30? At PCB Hobby.
There you go, Michigan Eddie. And one more shout out to Domino's Pizza. They'll be providing some pizza there. We're looking forward to having a great event. Can't ask Jay what the countdown is because he is not here, but 10 days until the college football kickoff. Obviously, that changes here in about 54 minutes-ish when it switches over to the afternoon. And then, of course, the NFL is 3 weeks from tomorrow. The opening kickoff on September 5th. Looking forward to getting that all rocking and rolling, no doubt about that. Couple of local things did see yesterday, covered by our own My Panhandle. That's WMBB News Channel 13. Bay County High Schools to introduce beach volleyball. Right from the article, a handful of Panhandle schools have introduced beach volleyball teams over the past few years. Now Bay County is joining in on the action. On Tuesday, Bay District Schools voted to approve funding for 2 beach volleyball courts, one at Bay High and another at Arnold High School. The 2 courts will host matches for Arnold, Bay, and Mosley, who will all introduce beach volleyball teams in the spring of 2025. The Florida High School Athletic Association first sanctioned beach volleyball in 2022, and they will be entering their 4th season with a state tournament. In 2024, 6 local teams fielded a beach volleyball team, including Blountstown, Liberty County, Sneads, Marianna, South Walton, and Walton. Bay District Schools Athletic Director Josh Lash said installing beach volleyball in Bay County has been more than a year in the making. It's been one of those things that we've been working on since last August, Lash said. One of my first weeks in the job, going around to the different ADs and coaches, what things would you like to see? Beach volleyball was at the top. And we think it's going to be a huge asset for the girls in our community. The sand courts at Bay and Arnold are scheduled to break ground in a couple weeks. They'll be around 9,000 square feet and have 3 courts/nets apiece. Even though the other 3 Bay County high schools will not have a team this spring, student athletes at these schools will be able to compete with the schools that do have a beach volleyball per the FHSAA's new guidelines. If you're a student at Rutherford or Bozeman or North Bay Haven that does not have a beach volleyball team and you would be interested in playing at Mosley Bay or Arnold, you would be able to try out for those teams under the FHSAA guidelines, Latch said. If you're interested in playing beach volleyball and you don't go to one of the brick or mortar schools that offers it, you can always contact his office. This construction project, funded by the St. Joe Foundation, is estimated to cost approximately $65,106. That does not include the cost of sand, which will cost BDS around $24,000. Can they just go to the beach and transport it?
That's what
I'm just kidding.
Well, you can't dig holes.
You got to fill them in. That's true.
So
you kind of have to layer it. Maybe the next time they dredge, they can. There'll be a lot of shells in those, though.
Was it $24,000 worth of sand?
Yeah, and typically the big bulk of that cost is transportation.
Yeah,
because I just know, like at golf, the golf course, we always get sand for top dressing, and when you aerate and all that, and your biggest cost is the freight.
But why couldn't they? I guess with travel and everything, why couldn't they just go play out there at the beach?
Good question. I don't know.
It's always nice to have your own facility.
Of course.
Or we could maybe work on getting like football fields.
Yeah. Yeah,
that sounds pretty good.
A little more expensive than
a lot more expensive, no doubt about that.
But what cool stuff. We're in Florida. Florida State's got one of the best beach volleyball programs in the country. The national championship is just down the road in Gulf Shores, so it's perfect bringing beach volleyball right here to Bay County.
There you go, man.
Looking forward to it. I know, and I saw some people post on Facebook, well, my kid goes to this school, I hope they bring it to both. Well, there you go. You can play or try out for another school's team per the guidelines, the FHSAA.
Just hit up the Bay County Athletic Director. There you go.
Hit up Josh. He's a good guy, and he'll take care of you, that's for sure. This, I don't know if Graceville is in our listening zone or not, but it brings up kind of an interesting conversation. The Graceville Tigers canceled their 2024 varsity football season. Head coach Richard Kontz has notified the other area coaches that his team does not have enough players to play this season. One contributing factor is the departure of several key players who have transferred to other schools in the area. This is from WJHG News Channel 7, has learned that some schools on Graceville's 2024 schedule have already replaced those games while others are still in process. The Tigers will instead play a junior varsity schedule this fall and hope to add numbers to the roster in order to back playing on the varsity level in 2025. What do you think? You think it's a combination of the ability to go to other schools?
It is. It's the transfer portal or transferring school choice, all that good stuff. But tough. And now you got other teams who are going to have to fill in where Graceville was on their schedule. So that's going to be tough.
Do you think there's any part of this that may be just the dangers, quote unquote, of football too? Or do you think it's
no, because they still got a JV team.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But and just not get enough people to come out. I don't know.
And it makes more sense for them to play JV rather than try to take all those youngins and play varsity, and it's miserable at that point.
Yep, absolutely. And I don't know if Graceville's in our listening area or not, but it just kind of brings up that thing. Are we going to continue to allow just this moving around constantly from school to school? I just don't see any end to that, that's for sure. But we're back on a different district and schedule and A's and all that now. Is the rural and the all that, that's you still have the rural, I think, but all the other ones have kind of gone back to the way it was. Something along those lines. I'm going to have Josh in sometime in the next week or so and ask him some of those questions to help me and our listeners understand, because it seems like it's changing every year and it's hard to keep up with, especially on the football side.
Yeah, I think that you still have the rural classification, not necessarily the 1S, I believe. So, if you got a certain amount, then you had to move up a class, and you'll be playing with the bigger schools then.
Yeah. It's very interesting, but
I think for the most part, all of our schools stayed in in their same classification.
Yeah, and
maybe not Bozeman, but I'm not entirely sure on that.
Gotcha. Well, we'll find out all about it. And speaking I mean, it's right around the corner. They are getting close. I know they got the kickoff classics coming up this Friday and Saturday, Friday night and Saturday morning. But next week, week 1 is underway. You've got Gavlac Stadium, Arnold versus Bay. And is that the game that you had mentioned? There's a little friendly wager between a couple people on that one?
Yeah, and I have no idea what the wager is, but we'll see if that all comes to fruition.
Gotcha.
Right?
Who was it again between?
I'm not going to say that until it's actually on the air.
Okay, because we do, Coach Griffin's going to join us tomorrow at 11:22 to talk about the
Arnold coach?
Yeah, talk about
that's
the
exciting,
upcoming
man.
Arnold schedule. It worked out great. You know, we can't get a lot of the coaches on the air because of when our time is.
Right.
But apparently from 11 to 1, he's got some time in his schedule. So looking forward to talking to him tomorrow about the upcoming Arnold schedule. But again, they kick off next Friday. That is Arnold versus Bay. That's at Gavlac. Bozeman is hosting Holmes County, and then over at Tommy Oliver Stadium, Rutherford versus Mosley. That'll be called right here by DJ Davey Crockett, a.k.a. David Hayes, and Kyle Wright on the call for the 3rd year. I know they are looking forward to it. All the Mosley games will be live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. And then you've also got North Bay Haven hosting Freeport. And a little bit in our listening zone to our west as well. You've got Destin will be taking on, I can't read my own writing, but South Walton will be at Gulf Breeze. And then Port St. Joe will be taking on Wakulla in the first week, the opening week of high school football. Here we are. It's right around the corner. Looking forward to everything going down. It's going to be fun. Hopefully maybe gets a little cooler for them, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. So, but, looking forward to talking to Coach tomorrow and see what the deal is. I know they got a new offensive coordinator as well. So a lot of new stuff going on there at Arnold, and I think they had a big turnout, and we'll see how it goes. That's for sure.
Yeah, hopefully they have a little bit better of a season than what they had last year. A lot of growing pains last year, so we'll see. Yeah. I think they got new uniforms, too, if I'm not mistaken. I saw a picture on either WMBB or WJHD where it looked like they got some black helmets going on.
Ooh, trying to bring out the intimidation. I think I saw Bay with some new uniforms, too, but
not entirely sure.
Yeah, there's been a lot of social media action checking them all out. But, yeah. Braves, I'm going to call it every day. I'm going to call it Braves Playoff Watch. Another 2 in a row. Another victory last night in extra innings. Another 10th inning win there for the Braves over the San Francisco Giants. I believe it was 5-4, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was 4-3, right?
4-3, yes. They won by. I
actually stayed up all night, stayed up watching that one.
You had good sleep the night before, so you had extra energy there to make that happen. And then, of course, the Mets dropped another one. They've lost 4 straight, so now the Braves have a full 2-game lead in the last wild card spot there. We appreciate the Oakland Athletics taking it to the Mets yesterday. And I did see a stat that Oakland Athletics have the best record in the AL since July 1st.
How about that?
Turn it around.
The Oakland A's, the White Sox beat the Yankees a couple nights ago, tried to get back at them.
Soto hit, what, 3 home runs last night? 3 home runs. Jazz Chisholm, more than likely going to be hitting the IL, needing surgery on the old UCL. It's on his left one, so that's not as bad. Yeah. But, yeah, the Tigers beat the tar out of the Mariners, I believe. There was a lot of crazy games last night. And for the Braves, Charlie Morton bouncing back. Travis d'Arnaud hits the home run. I believe that was the second run of the game, and then pushing across the game-winning run in the 10th again. Just absolutely amazing. And there's been that conversation surrounding the Braves of why are they playing Travis d'Arnaud and not Sean Murphy? Well, there's your answer.
Snit's got it going on.
Absolutely. Hey, it's you just feel, to winning those kind of games, I think really gives you more momentum than, just drumming somebody 7-8. But I think I saw too, the Braves have 9 extra inning victories this season, and that leads the major leagues. So,
and back to back too. That's pretty impressive, especially to do it on the road against the San Francisco Giants. So you're out west. It's not just on the road. It's on the road out west against a team who you're battling with for the wild card. So
absolutely get it. Well, they got another one at them today, I believe.
Yeah, 8:45 again.
There, I'd say,
But last night's game, I believe, ended like 11:45 or so.
Dang.
So I even played a little bit of college football.
Yeah, wow, big night.
Yeah,
big night. Like it. Good stuff. But did you find a poll question? If you didn't, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm still working on that, brother.
No, absolutely. Now, I did want to ask you, it kind of sneaks up on you, but Madden is coming out this Friday. Has
technically already out.
Yeah, if you got the
early release, yeah.
Just like college football. But for the regular folk, if you've got the not the early release, it comes out this Friday. Do you think it's been, we talked about prior to the college football release about, is college football going to overshadow Madden? And we're like, no, Madden's Madden. Everybody's going to buy Madden. But do you think that might have changed a little bit now that everybody's been playing the game? I will say, in our household, he's not really like that gung-ho about getting Madden, and either really am I, because there's so much in depth with this college football game. There's only so much time in the day. So, but is it one of those things that maybe they see a little bit less, and maybe that's why they did that deluxe dual kind of package thing?
I don't think that Madden is going to touch the sales numbers that NCAA did. I think, or that college football, rather.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard not to call it NCAA.
Absolutely. But, people are still going to get Madden. Like, I've already got it. I haven't started playing it yet, but that's why I'm trying to finish my road to glory, just so I can see the draft process, because apparently it's pretty cool. Now, where Madden is, if Madden has the same system, I don't even know what to call it right now, but the same sort of mechanics going on as what college football does, man, it's going to be tough to say which one's going to be more popular.
Yeah, and you got the initial, it was gone for 10 years, kind of that's a huge factor of coming back to things. But I was just thinking about that this morning when I was like, when does a Madden game come out? I think it comes out pretty soon. And then lo and behold, like you said, the early release has already happened, and it comes out this Friday. You can check out all the ratings there. We've gone through them now. There's a few more now that are still out there, but all the Madden ratings you can check out on their website. We got a caller on the line.
Yeah, we got Travis. I was telling him that we could hold him on till the next segment, but if you want to go ahead and bring him on, go on ahead. It's your show, brother.
Yeah, Travis, we'll bring you in, but then we'll go ahead and take a break real quick. All right. So you got about a minute, 30 seconds. How you doing, Trav?
Oh, no, pretty good. So I actually wanted to speak on the whole Madden college football thing.
Yeah.
So I got EA Play, so I was able to play Madden last night. I think I played 2 halves of a game and went right back to college.
So how is the motion system, if you will? How do the players look? Are they reacting as good as what college football was? I mean, I've never played a football game in general that's been as good as college football 25.
They upped it, but it still feels like Madden.
Well, I kind of like that. And I'll have to play that. Yeah. I'll have to play it before I can really put my 2 cents on it. But if it's a little bit faster, I like that, because the NFL is a little bit faster. And that's one of the things that I noticed about college football 25 is, especially when you're passing, it feels like there's a little bit more time there. Yeah. Unless you've got it on Heisman, and then the defensive linemen and linebackers are on you right on rice.
Yeah, they're in you're in your grill right away.
Well, what I like, this is the main thing that I actually seen that I like, because usually on all Maddens, the quarterbacks stand generic. It's a generic stance. They just kind of stand there. Well, like with Derek Carr, he almost stands straight up every time he gets under center. And that's what he does in the game. I mean, he's just kind of standing there waiting on the ball. He doesn't really have too much of a stance in the game, so to speak. I like that. I like the passing. The passing was good. If college football did not just come out, this would be the best football game they made so far from the 2 halves that I played.
Yeah. Hey, makes sense. Hey, Trav, we'll take a quick break, then we'll dive right back into it. Listen to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. Almost 20 million people watch that gold medal win. And what's amazing about Steph, you still don't think he's great? He doesn't qualify as an all-time great? You just look silly doubting Steph Curry. Take out Magic Johnson. He is by far and away the best point guard ever. Only Magic is close, and Magic couldn't score like this.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind around 9 miles per hour out of the west and a high of 95. Tonight, look for clear skies with a temperature near 80. Tomorrow, a high around 92 and mostly sunshine in the morning, and then a likelihood of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's time for a new kitchen from Kitchen Designs. Kitchen Designs in Panama City Beach and Santa Rosa Beach offers full-service cabinets, countertops, and flooring, plus cash and carry cabinets available the very next day. Kitchen Designs has been family-owned and operated for over 20 years. Visit their showroom at 7934 Front Beach Road and on Lynn Drive in Santa Rosa Beach. Or call Kitchen Designs, 850-775-4150.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Suffer from political talk radio fatigue? And tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Poll question is up on our Facebook page. Nice and simple. It will be up in about 30 seconds. But Madden, college football, and we may even throw an NBA game in there as well. And go ahead and get on Facebook. If you're not driving, if you're somewhere where you can be on Facebook safely, go ahead and get that vote in. Travis, you still out there with us?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Excellent, excellent. Any other thoughts on your brief moment with Madden at 25?
So, whenever I played it, like I said, it was real brief. I threw a couple passes, and started my franchise. But I really wanted to just go back to college to actually finish my road to glory and put him in the game. So that's the one reason why I went back. But, looking at YouTube, if you look up some guys, there's one guy I watch, is Eric Rayweather, and he actually does a comparison, like side by side, and shows the difference between 25 and 24. So one thing I've noticed about the presentation is, if y'all can remember Madden 11, where pregame they showed the quarterback warming up, the whole team warming up. It just kind of feels like that in 25. I thought that was pretty cool. But
that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at the people at the door.
The stance of the quarterbacks, the passing's nice. It looks a little more real. It looks a lot more real. Players run the way that they run in real life, not just generic.
Yeah.
Everything that was generic in old Maddens, from presentation to commentary. There's other commentary. You still got your Brandon Gaudin and whatever the other one is, I can't remember. But you also got Greg Olson and I can't remember you got two other commentators, or two sets of commentators.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's something they've never done before, and it just sounds like it's more quote unquote realistic to the players than previous.
But I don't know what it was about when I switched to like Greg Olson and all them. I couldn't hardly hear them. I don't know if I had my TV low, but it sounded like everything was they were quieter than everything else.
Gotcha.
I don't know. When I had Brandon Gaulden and all them on, they were louder than everything.
Maybe that's the part of the shtick with the other ones. But did you know, Travis, that you can call the Madden ratings hotline? That you can let the Madden's rating people know if you think players should need a boost or not. I didn't know that they had a 800 number for you to call in.
I think Derek Carr needs a 99 overall.
If you could just do that in real life. Yeah, there you go. You should be able to boost your own ratings in real life. Speaking of Derek Carr and the Saints, which one of your teams, the Saints or the Gators, do you have more hope and anticipation for the upcoming season?
Gators, for sure.
Yeah?
I have no faith in Dennis Allen as a coach at all. I have repeatedly said this to all the fans and everything. I hope we lose every game.
Yeah. I feel like this is deja vu from last year, Travis.
It is.
Yeah,
I want Dennis Allen out of there. I thought he was a terrible pick. I still do. I think he's never going to do any good. But, yeah, I think that it's... And plus, yes, Florida has a real hard schedule, but have you looked at the first 6 games of the Saints' schedule?
Oh, no, I have not. Are they brutal?
Yeah, like we play the Chiefs, the Eagles. I went over. We were having a family get together, and somebody else they were a Cowboys fan, but we were talking about the schedule, and I went over the schedule with him, and we were like, I think maybe 1 or 2 wins. Panthers and maybe the Falcons, just because it's a rivalry, not because we have the better team, because the Falcons have built and they got a good team going.
Yeah, I mean, well, and who knows about the Cowboys, man? If CeeDee Lamb, doesn't end up signing and something crazy happens, you never know. But, yeah, home against the Panthers, that should be a win. At the Cowboys, depending on what goes down, you never know. That's why you got to play the game. Then you host the Eagles, then you travel to Atlanta, travel to Kansas City. So, yeah, definitely a tough go in the beginning. It eases up for you a little bit there, and kind of the end of the season kind of gets a little bit easier. So, several NFC, I think you play all 4 NFC East teams you play all 4 NFC East teams, with the Commanders on the schedule
I mean,
as well.
I've said this many times too. I think Florida is going to be 10 times better than what people think. I think 8, 9, maybe 10 wins. I really do. I think that
what causes that to be the case? What do you think behind that?
You think about it. Now, I mean, we are kind of going into 2006 realm as far as quarterbacks go and stuff. And think about Chris Leak and compare him to Graham Mertz. Chris Leak was good passer. He was field general. That's what Graham Mertz is. You think about Tim Tebow as he was a runner. I mean, that's what Lagway is. It's a runner. We've got Aiden Mizell. It's a fast guy. Eugene Wilson is he's a speedster. He's a guy that will beat defenses.
What about defensively? How are you going to stop Miami, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State?
I just think, Florida State, I honestly don't think will be a problem. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
I'm just trying to find 8 or 9 wins in this schedule, and it just seems really, really tough.
I do love the ideas that you're coming with there, though, because it does make sense. I mean, Chris Lee, Graham Mertz, that's a great kind of comparison as like a spot holder waiting on DJ Lagway, like Tim Tebow was kind of waiting in the wings. So maybe you do see a little bit of a combination between Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway. Graham Mertz was not the issue last year with the Florida Gators. It was just kind of everything else outside of Graham Mertz.
He was a solution almost. Like he was nowhere near what people thought he was going to be. He is overachieved 100%. And I mean, you look at some other comparisons. Look at Eugene Wilson's a speedster. Percy Harvin was a speedster. Now I know there will never be a Percy Harvin, but Eugene Wilson will come close to it. I mean, the defensively also. I mean, I think that the defense has improved. I mean, we've got L.J. McCray, a couple other people that are on the team now that just I feel like can actually make a big difference in the defense. And I mean, it's not like the defense was absolutely terrible like it has been last year. I mean, it needed improvement, but it was a young defensive coordinator's first year. So I think that Florida has a huge chance at winning a lot of games next year, even with their schedule.
Well, they can certainly make a splash and make some people think if they can make that happen, because some people are dubbing it the most difficult schedule in college football history. But, hey, when you get that kind of difficult schedule, you win some games that maybe you shouldn't, and all of a sudden you're going to get a lot more action.
If Florida goes 9-3, they've got a pretty good chance of making the playoffs, right?
I would yeah. If Florida gets 9 wins, they will be in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that would be absolutely wild.
And Billy Napier should be coach of the year if they go 9-3.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
We're talking about, I've counted it like I think 4 of our teams are in the top 10 starting of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 7 teams in the top 20 that you are playing this year, and 3 of them are inside the top 6. So, but again, that's a ranking, but the SEC is just a lot harder than it used to be.
And, I mean, I started out seeing the 4.5 win total being like, man, I don't even know if they're going to get 4 wins, to doing my predictions, having them at 7-5. So who knows, man? I mean, Travis, if they go 9-3, though, I'm going to buy you a Florida Gator hat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know all the players seem to think that they're...
Well, yeah, you got to. You have to.
That's just a part of it. But we're talking about, like, guys are putting some stuff out there that are like, man, if you don't live up to that, you are going to suck. I mean, it's, if you either win with us or you don't, or you win with us or you just, I forgot what one of them said, but
you win with us and you lose with us if you're a part of the squad.
Yes.
Well, one of them,
I know what you're talking about. He was calling out like kind of the fan base or just all of college football in general, saying here. I think, is that the one you sent to me?
Yeah, I think so.
They're going to have to live with us. Yeah, they're going to have to live with that real soon. You are going to have to live with it. May God have mercy on a lot of team souls, because I won't. I promise you I won't. That was Tyreek Sapp on people doubting Florida.
Football teams have souls.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, of course, the whole team, like the individuals, does. But yeah.
Thanks for clearing that one up. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of hope, a lot of excitement. But yeah, I mean, they've got probably one of the biggest opportunities, you could say, in the SEC to really make a splash there. I mean, if they can, that first game of the season, I think, is huge. Having Miami come in, and that Miami's got Cam Ward. They've got they've brought in a lot of players in the transfer portal, and Miami's always really hyped up at the beginning of every season. But they've brought a lot of players in. But you win that game, I think that kind of sets the tone for the season there. Obviously, you come back and play Samford and then host Texas A&M at home and then Mississippi State. You should, on the road, we'll see. But, you could easily be, if you can win that Miami game, you could win those first 5 games, maymaybe 6 games, and be 6-0.
I do have Florida beating Miami.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's key.
I think if it was in Miami, it would be a different situation. But I think even though it's not very far away, the home field advantage and Swamp is going to make a big difference. And if they win against Miami, like David said, I've got it in the book, says they're going to win. But if they win against Miami, it takes some pressure off of Billy Napier.
No doubt.
He's sitting there. He's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and if he can win that first game just to start, that's a nice little release that he can take. I mean, definitely not ease up.
What record would you say keeps him safe, Travis?
I mean, if he wins 7 or 8 games, I feel like he should be safe. Will he be safe? would say 8 or 9. But I think with 7 wins on that schedule, any coach should be safe. And I hope he is, because, you know, if he's not good at calling plays this year, maybe he needs to get a OC that will call the plays, you know, indefinitely. But he has done a monster job recruiting. Even now, he's still on the recruiting track and doing pretty good with it, I believe. But you know, I think that the key for Florida is to keep a daggum coach. Stop firing them. I mean, Dan Mullen he didn't have a very bad season his whole tenure there until the last year. And even that was better than some seasons that kept their coach.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just it's so tough because it's everybody's, what have you done for me lately? And you could do all these good things, and then you have one bad season, and everybody turns on you very, very quickly because it's just and I think it's probably more I don't want to say firing a coach like that is justifiable, but now with the transfer portal, you have the ability to go from 1 year to 1 year and really have a drastic improvement to potentially save your butt, versus when you couldn't do all that, you know, you were relying, he hasn't even got his recruiting classes in there yet and developed them. So when people were getting fired like that, I think it was a little more, you know, unwarranted. But now with the transfer portal and everything you can do, you can really make a jump from 1 year to the other.
And I get it too. Dan Mullen was not a recruiter per se. He used a lot of the past players, and sometimes he didn't make the best choices as far as who to put in because of relationships. You know, he had a good relationship with Emory Jones, and Emory Jones was terrible, and he still is terrible. And with Todd Grantham, and eventually after the 2019 season, you know, Todd Grantham's defenses were they were going downhill. And I mean, but as far as Miami goes, we beat Miami in 2019 through 3 picks with Felipe Franks. I believe if we could beat them then, we can beat them now.
Yeah, lots changed, that's for sure. Travis, I will leave you with this. I think this year is huge for Billy Napier. Currently, Florida is ranked 42nd in the 2025-24 sports composite team rankings there for recruiting. I believe they were 13th or 14th for this season coming up, but he's got a lot of work to do next year, and I think this season is a big part of that, and get some of these top commits to head back to Florida.
Yeah, I think so. I think he could. I think if we have a decent year this year and we show improvement from last year, I think just showing improvement from last year should keep his job. But to go back to that, but I think that if we show improvement this year, he'll be able to get them top recruits, and he's a good recruiter. So.
Yeah, got some ground to make up next year. But hey, Travis, we appreciate your phone call. Appreciate you letting us know how Madden went so far, and be safe out there driving around, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. All
right, take care, Travis. You're listening to the real quick thing. Next year, Miami's sitting at 10 right now.
Oh boy, where's Auburn at right now?
Auburn is 5th. You got Ohio State 1. This is 2025.
Yeah.
Which is what they're basically all working on now. Ohio State 1, Alabama 2, LSU 3, Georgia 4, Auburn 5, Texas A&M 6, Notre Dame 7, Tennessee 8, Oregon 9, and Miami rounding out the top 10 at number 10.
There you go. A lot of work for Florida to get up there with the big boys.
And I think that starts with winning some football games.
I do think college football is better when all of these, seeing Florida down in the dumps for the last few years, Florida State kind of starting to climb back, especially for our area here. It is a lot better when all of the fans can do a lot of trash talking with pride, being right there with them.
And backing it up, no doubt. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive. Don't forget, Keith Fleming coming up at the top of the hour. We will be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
Chichi Rodriguez passed away.
It's my dad's favorite golfer.
Yep, really? At the age of 88. Legend.
Dang.
Yeah, 88.
That's nice.
No doubt.
I mean, seriously.
Absolutely.
I don't even want to make it to the 80s. I see my grandparents, bro. 75. All right, cut it out.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
As a realtor, it's important who you choose as your title company. May we suggest South Oak Title? Their offices are modern, comfortable, and state-of-the-art. South Oak Title can close transactions in any location in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. Their free mobile app allows realtors to deliver a net sheet in seconds. They provide mobile closing services to accommodate buyers and sellers. Their offices are beautifully decorated, state-of-the-art, complete, safe, and secure. South Oak Title, creating a better title and closing experience through technology and tailored service. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254.
Florida Health Connector. We connect you to Blue.
Most people sign up for health insurance during the open enrollment period at the end of the year. But did you know you may qualify for a special enrollment period at any time during the year? Florida Health Connector can tell you if you're qualified for a zero premium plan.
Call Florida Health Connector today at 850-249-1010.
Florida Health Connector.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley.
This man is destroying golf.
Broadcasting live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
You may be right, but our ratings are up and we're attracting new youthful sponsors.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Couple injury information. One coming out of the University of Texas. This was yesterday. Texas suffered its second season-ending injury at the running back position Monday when true freshman Christian Clark tore an Achilles tendon in practice. Texas said Clark will have surgery and miss the remainder of the year. Unfortunately, this came 6 days after announcing C.J. Baxter, last year's opening game starter, will undergo, I don't think he's had it yet, will undergo season-ending surgery as well. That only leaves 3 scholarship running backs on Texas's roster. One of those is Jaden Blue. He appeared in 23 games for Texas, rushing for 431 yards with 3 touchdowns. He's expected to kind of carry the load for Texas this year. He also had 4 catches for 45 yards in the Longhorns college football playoff semifinal loss, where they lost to the W there. Also behind Blue, you've got sophomore Quintrevion Wisner. He played in all 14 games last season on special teams. And they also have freshman Jarek Gibson, who is ranked the number 2 running back and the number 59th prospect in the ESPN 2024 Top 300. So
that's a tough go.
True. Hopefully, maybe Jarek Gibson can be the real deal and fill in for Baxter. But he was certainly a stud for Texas last year. And Texas has lost a lot of players to the NFL, but they have high hopes, as we talked yesterday. I believe their college football playoff chances are pretty high, depending on how their season goes. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews was involved in a car accident this morning. He seems to be okay and has reported for his camp meetings today. So a little car accident on the way in there. Maybe it was just a little fender bender. Who knows what that looks like? The Brandon Ayuk saga. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that's tough. I mean, for back to Texas real quick, next man up. And then for Mark Andrews, I mean, still got to wait on the details and everything, but you just hope that, nothing is too serious over there.
Absolutely.
Because Lamar Jackson needs him this year. That trifecta between Lamar, Derrick Henry, and Mark Andrews, and then as Zay Flowers continues to climb, man, they could be really dangerous. I mean, they were last year, but maybe beating the Chiefs in the playoffs type dangerous.
Yeah, that would be good. Somebody needs to. But yes, just a brief thing on it. Early Wednesday morning, he was involved in a car accident while driving to the Under Armour Performance Center. He was evaluated by medical staff at the Ravens training facility and did not sustain any apparent injuries. Like I said, he later joined the team for meetings. He was originally scheduled for a non-practice day on Wednesday and is expected to return to practice in the coming days. He appreciates everyone's thoughts and well wishes. It's a great reminder of the importance of wearing seatbelts seatbelts and remaining alert while driving a car. With him saying that, sounds like it wasn't something he did. But I don't know that, so I'm just kind of speculating there. All right. Hopefully, the Brandon Ayuk saga comes to an end today for the San Francisco 49ers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jerry Rice posted on social media last night that I guess we will find out tomorrow. Goats, that's what he calls everybody. Will he stay or will he leave? At Brandon Ayuk. So maybe Jerry knows something that we don't. But they basically have an offer on the table for Ayuk from the Niners. They've been renegotiating, and then they had agreed to the framework of a trade the Niners did with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's up to Brandon Ayuk. He can either accept that trade offer or he can stay a Niner, depending on what they offered. So,
well, why are they letting Ayuk determine if he wants to be traded to certain teams? Does he have a no trade clause? Like we were discussing that yesterday.
I believe he does.
How did he get a no trade clause on a rookie contract?
Well, they extended him once before.
Okay,
this is not his rookie deal. He was extended before, but he requested that trade. The Niners granted, and I think the Niners have kind of stuck their foot in the sand and said, "Hey, this is what we're." But I think they've offered him another offer here recently. But yeah, I don't. Hopefully today. So
he doesn't have a no trade clause, but he holds the power to veto any trade if he doesn't by refusing to sign a new contract with said team. So
gotcha, and that's what he did with the Patriots. That's what he did with the Browns.
That's so lame. That's so lame. If you want to be traded, you're going to be traded to who we want to trade you with, because at the end of the day, we're the team who's got to get a good, fair payback.
At this point, it just seems like there's, do the Niners really want him in? And you don't know what he is behind the scenes, locker room, this kind of guy. But obviously, it's either you want to get paid a decent amount of money and play for a contender, or you want to get paid more money and it's all about the money. So, and again, so much of this is speculation. At this point, I just want this saga to be over. But hopefully today is the day we find out what direction. And if it is, maybe we'll get George Pickens and a couple draft picks.
Hey, there you go. And I do understand the premise. Like football, you don't get to play this sport for very long. You don't have very many opportunities to get the bag. And the older you get, the lower that bag becomes. Look at Derrick Henry with the Ravens, right? $8 million for him. Tony Pollard to the Titans, $8 million. Yep. So there is that aspect of it. So I get it, but be a team player, because this is a team sport.
Yeah, and the NFL arguably is the least player friendly league when it comes to the Players Association, the collective bargaining, all that stuff. So typically the players don't hold much power, but I think the Niners gave them some options there. But I don't know. You just debate it. Like if it's about money, then take the bag. But if it's about winning Super Bowls and competing every year, stay with the Niners.
None of the other teams that you're going to be going to have what the 49ers have.
If he does end up going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, I wish he would have went to the Browns, because did you see what the actual offer was from the Browns?
No.
So the framework for that trade, which was released, was Amari Cooper, a second-round pick, and a fifth-round pick in next year's draft. I would have taken
So it wasn't Amari, and what were we discussing?
Well, at one point it said, there was some first-round picks thrown out there, but it would have been Cooper and a second and a fifth-round pick.
That's still not, I mean.
I would have been okay with that.
I would have been like, here, Amari Cooper, we'll take just Amari Cooper.
And Amari Cooper put on either Instagram, some social media thing, and he's like, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, right now, if you're on the Cleveland Browns, you got to have faith if you're a wide receiver that Deshaun Watson's going to be able to get it going. And you got to love the pregame talks, the speeches that you get out of Jameis Winston. But I'd rather go play where, that's the biggest point, right? Yeah. You're playing in the toughest division. And seeing what the 49ers have been doing for the last 3-4 years, I think you got a pretty good opportunity over there.
Yeah, absolutely. But hopefully, again, that saga comes to an end. And, we'll find out when that happens. And you also got, Jamar Chase, who's holding in. He hasn't gone forward yet. And then, of course, you got CeeDee Lamb and you got Hassan Riddick. So just another off season in the NFL where people are holding out, trying to get more money. But, hey, that's, I guess, part of the business, and I can't attest to it because I'm not in that position. The Browns did extend their Pro Bowl linebacker Jeremiah Awasu Koromoa for a 3-year deal worth up to $39 million with a $25 million guarantee. The newest the first ever in sports or NFL franchise history, probably sports history as well. Yes, the first sports franchise. The new valuations came out yesterday. Sportico released the list of the NFL franchise and what they are worth. This came out yesterday. Number one on this list, you can guess. You got it. Who's got the most money?
Patrick Mahomes?
No, valuation of the whole team. Sorry.
Oh,
yes.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yep, absolutely. That's why I was like, why are you thinking about this?
Yeah, because I was like, well, Jordan Love just got extended, Trevor Lawrence, all of them got
this is the Sportico's valuation of the NFL franchises, and for the first time ever for a sports franchise,
$10 billion.
They broke the $10 billion mark. The Cowboys are valuated at $10.32 billion, coming in second. Can you possibly guess who's second on this list? Think of cities that are,
New York Giants.
Giants are third.
Okay.
They're valued at $7.65 billion.
Is it in the same city?
No.
Do they play in the? Okay.
No. Actually, very opposite. Almost the symmetrical opposite.
Miami? No, there's no
opposite.
way.
Other side of the country.
Not Seattle.
No.
LA Rams.
Yes, the LA Rams. They are valued at $7.79 billion. The New England Patriots come in fourth.
When you say opposite, north and south, that's
I was thinking northeast, southwest.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
I got it when we said Rams. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a great hint, but you have to hint where it's not obvious. Patriots coming in at number 4 at $7.31 billion. The San Francisco 49ers coming in at number 5 at $7.86 billion. And then the Jets are round out the top 6 at $6.8 billion. But hey, Cowboys, you got $10.32 billion worth of valuation. Pay CeeDee Lamb some money.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Who's at the bottom of the totem pole?
The bottom 5. Funny you should ask. We'll start with the 28th spot.
All right.
The Detroit Lions coming in at $4.93 billion. The St. Louis. The Arizona Cardinals coming in at $4.85 billion. The New Orleans Saints coming in at $4.79 billion. The Jacksonville Jaguars at $4.76 billion. This team is surprising, and I guess there's a correlation between probably winning, conference championships and Super Bowl and your valuation. But the team that is dead last in valuation in the NFL is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, wow.
Surprising, right?
A little bit, but not so surprising.
Yeah. I mean, they really haven't won anything in a long time.
There's been a lot of hype around them because of the Joe Burrow year that they had, but outside of that, it's
like I said, year singular, because it was. He's been injured all the other ones.
Right. And so again, talking about the Gators and Miami and Florida State, hey, when Joe Burrow and those Cincinnati Bengals are playing, just because of how stacked the AFC is, I think the NFL's in a better place for that.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that changes their valuation very much.
Definitely. I did see earlier, too, Jahmyr Gibbs, his hamstring injury is not very serious, and he will be ready week 1. Saw that earlier this morning. And then Malik Neighbors' ankle injury, Brian Daboll saying it's nothing serious on that one either. So, but a lot feels, I don't know if it feels like it's more, but there's always injuries in the preseason and stuff like that. So
absolutely. And you need to, I hate to say it like this, you need to get injured in the preseason, but I feel like if you're, taking hits and stuff in the preseason and not holding out, your body's kind of getting used to it. Look at Garrett Cole right now.
Yeah.
Like you don't play in the preseason. It's not like he was holding out or anything, but for to get in mid-season form, it takes a while. And playing outside of quarterbacks, I think quarterbacks are about the lone position where, all right, you don't not for the young ones, but for the Aaron Rodgers and even Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes, I believe, played the opening drive for the Chiefs.
He did. Yep.
If Pat's playing, everyone outside of, I'll give Aaron Rodgers the pass because he's in his 40s and honestly, he's going to cry if you don't.
True.
You know what I mean?
True. Yep.
But
absolutely.
Also, you got injured 4.5 minutes into the season last year, so maybe you do need to be out there, or maybe that's a better reason to keep you out. I don't know.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he says, I was listening to something that he said on Twitter the other day. Obviously, it wasn't on Twitter. He didn't say it to Twitter. He wasn't like tweeting this.
Yes.
But it was a press conference, and he was saying that preseason is just different. these days. It's basically just finding out the youngins and how they react to being under the lights and all that good stuff. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but it makes sense. You almost want to not necessarily get banged up a little bit to get into the season, but you can practice as much as you want. And if you got a really good first team defense, there's probably some similarities, but it's still not a game. At least a preseason game, it's still a game. They're still playing hard. Did you see what the Patriots coach said about preseason games?
I loved that. Well, so they have those joint practices and sometimes they have two of those practices, but the Patriots and the Eagles just did one because a lot of the times that first practice can lead to other things that happen in the second practice. They get a little bit more chippy, he said, but I loved it, man.
Yeah.
What did he say? Tell the people.
He basically said if you get in a fight and you're a starter, you're going to play the entire preseason game. And if you're not a starter or you're, somebody that would normally play, he said you're not playing at all. I like that. So he's putting the responsibility on the player. Said, look, if you're going to get in a fight, I'm going to put you out there, and there's a chance you get hurt, you're not going to play. And vice versa. You're trying to make this team, and you get in a fight, you're not going to get any preseason action.
I absolutely love that, and they did not have a fight. So everyone's going to be good.
Imagine that. Sometimes that negative reinforcement goes a long way as well, especially for grown adults.
And he's a first-time head coach,
absolutely.
So
he's got to set the tone.
Exactly, and because he was a player not too long ago, he's one of those player type coaches, and sometimes you got to set those boundaries, as you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of grown adults and people that like to talk about football, we got Keith Lemon coming up after the break. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
How LeBron just sort of took the game under his control and said, I'm going to take over this game and finally win it. And you know what? It worked. It barely worked. It shouldn't have worked. It didn't deserve to work. And when the game was over, they were cheering and excited like they had some miraculous win. When LeBron and those guys should have just run out of the gym, they dodged the bullet.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind around 9 miles per hour out of the west and a high of 95. Tonight, look for clear skies with a temperature near 80. Tomorrow, a high around 92 and mostly sunshine in the morning and then a likelihood of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's time to pick your path and go big and go bold from Bill Bird Kia. You can drive away in a brand new 2024 Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. The 2024 Telluride protects what matters, and it's built for the long haul. Its technology will connect with confidence, and its upscale, all-around rugged look will take you on to the next adventure. The road is yours. Bill Bird Kia, the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us today at 2435 East 15th Street or BillBirdKia.com.
Broadcasting live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Have a quick stretch first.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
Must have pulled something playing hoops last week.
And Jay Henley.
I know you're not putting that rock up from here. You ain't got no Jay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach and all of Bay County. 101.9 in Port St. Joe along the beautiful Forgotten Coast. You can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, follow, all those wonderful things on our social channels. That's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. And then, of course, you can download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. That one you do need to put a 104.3 in front of ESPN Northwest Florida. Head over to ESPN ESPNPC.com. Make sure you sign up for KHS TV, as it is about to be football season, and you can drink from the proverbial fire hose with as many football games as you desire. All there for a low monthly price from KHSTV.com. Of course, follow us on TikTok, Inside.Drive. We share lots of Keith Fleming's TikToks as well. He does a great job reporting through TikTok, and we love to repost them. Also got to give a shout out to our studio sponsor. That is Bill Kramer GM and Kramer Marine and Outdoor. You can check them out. They're right there at the corner of 23rd and Frankfurt Avenue. They got all sorts of new vehicles trying to come in, and you got to get those 24 out. So you got great incentives, great rates. Go check them out. They have express service, regular service. Trade-in values are still super high. They got great used inventory as well. And of course, they always sell tires at cost. It's also hot, and tourist season is pretty much winded down. So a lot more opportunity out there for the locals to be out on the water. And if you have a boat and it's not working, there's only one place to go or call. That's Kramer Marine and Outdoor. With their mobile service, they will come out to you and get your boat fixed up. If they can't do it there, they'll tow it back to the dealership and get you back out on the water ASAP. They have 2 Yamaha Master Certified mechanics on staff. They sell Seabourn, Spyder, Sundance, and Skeeter. Check out all that new and used inventory at KramerMarineandOutdoor.com. All right, Keith, I had an epiphany this morning when we started the show. You're going to be here next Friday.
I am going to be there next Friday.
All of a sudden, here we are the week before. I mean, it's Wednesday, and it's not till next Sunday, but it's basically the week before the ESPN Northwest Florida Fantasy Football Draft.
I'm pretty pumped.
We talked earlier, and we need to know who's gonna win before the draft. Who do you pick? You or Brittany? Who's gonna finish higher? And then we'll do another one post draft.
Maybe give us some odds too, if you can.
Yeah, cap it.
I'm a 5-1 favorite.
You're a what? Sorry.
A 5-1 favorite.
5-1. Okay. So what would you put her at?
I mean, she's definitely an underdog. Brittany doesn't really pay much attention to this stuff. So
she's in the Champions League.
Yeah, she clearly did enough because she made it to the Champions League last year.
Well, it's what I always say, guys. Is you keep it simple. She did. There was definitely a few weeks she kind of forgot to check her lineup, but
that's a little bit of Jay Henley rubbing off on her.
Well, what's weird is she's normally super competitive, but in this, sometimes I have to remind her, like, hey, you're playing to make the playoffs this week. So she's sometimes an enigma, but aren't all women.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. So 5-1 for you. We'll give her 20-1. 20-1.
I like it.
That's pre-draft, and then we'll see what those odds look like post-draft as well.
Yeah, hopefully neither one of us have a J.J. McCarthy deal where you draft somebody and before you blink, they're already injured.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think it was Sam Darnold starting, but J.J. might have took over at some point. But yeah, Keith, you want to talk a little golf or you want to talk football? And I know FedEx Cup starts this week, which is kind of insane to think. I will say, did you see Scotty got the $8 million? I didn't even know that there was a bonus for finishing in the, they called it like the Comcast, something like that. He got another $8 million for finishing number 1 in the FedEx rankings.
It's good to be Scotty Scheffler when you just get money. It seems like out of nowhere. I think I read that the last 3 seasons he's now made over $100 million, which is wild because the annuities are so crazy from FedEx, and it's just kind of insane stuff. But it's good to be Scotty Scheffler.
No doubt, no doubt. And speaking of Scotty Scheffler, one of the, in your opinion, one of the potentially maybe one of the top 10 seasons in golf history?
I think it's very fair to say that now. I kind of went back and looked at it. Tiger has 3 seasons that I don't think you can question. They're 3 of like the top 8 of all time. No both Jack and Arnie had seasons where they won 2 majors and at least 6 events. Again, that's pretty tough to beat as well. And but I mean, if you just look at it, the Olympic gold, the players. I mean, he won at Arnie's place. He won at Augusta. Like truly won kind of the. I know not technically all of them were signature events, but signature events on the tour. And I also just his performance at the Olympics was really something because I was, one of the idiots barking about, Scotty Scheffler is no longer the best player in the game at this moment. And then he's like, oh, yeah, you think that? Keith, how about I shoot 29 on the back 9 to win a gold medal? How about that?
Insane.
So he's very, very, very good.
So pretty much, shoe in to win the FedEx Cup? Or, how can you not bet him to win the FedEx Cup?
I think, though, him and Sanders is going to be a really good battle because these courses set up very well for both of them. I think it's obviously going to come down to if Scheffler can putt anything like he did, the last round at the Olympics. He's going to be a heavy favorite and should be, but we've also seen like the first 2 rounds at that event, I think he was second to last in putting, even though he was still in like 15th place. And with these smaller fields, it kind of becomes a crapshoot because, you're going to have 70 this week. It gets down to, I believe it's 50 for the next one. And then you have the top 30 that make it to Eastlake. So it's really kind of became a sprint. But it's good to see all these guys back. And this is kind of the last time that we'll see the top names in golf until early next year, these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, may see a couple of them at the President's Cup, but until they're competing again. But and any other, obviously Xander and Schauffele, any chance? Rory's had a lot of good history during the FedEx Cup. One of the things he's won at Eastlake many times. I think he did win the FedEx Cup not last year, but the year before last in 2022.
Performance.
Yeah, that was.
Came back from way back.
Yeah, absolutely. Also won it in 2019 and 2016. So if anybody knows how to win the FedEx Cup, Rory McIlroy is a name at the top of the list there. I think he's the only person that's won it 3 times, right? Tiger just won it twice.
Yeah. Just twice.
Yeah, just twice. And don't forget, last year, Jay's boy, Victor Hovland, got the FedEx Cup victory. But, so Rory, of course, you got Colin Morikawa, Wyndham Clark hanging around there, Ludwig Ober's at 6 right now, Sahith Theegala. Any other names that you think might take a shot at this? Because they still do, when you go into Eastlake, it's your aggregate to par, right, based on what your FedEx Cup ranking is after the BMW Championship?
Correct. Absolutely. Everybody has a legit chance to win, which was a change that they made. I mean, some of these guys are starting 10 shots back, so no easy feat, but they at least have a realistic chance of winning. I'm thinking of guys like Ashay Biate, Davis Thompson, these ball strikers, because these are all courses that you need to hit the ball really well and are young and have a lot of confidence. And both of them are playing great golf right now. I mean, if I'm going to take a long shot, those are kind of the type of players that I'm looking for. And my dad just made a 20-footer down the hill for Eagle. How about that?
That's live action. I had forgot that, it's been, this was exactly a year ago, too-ish, ballpark, right, that you played in this event?
That's right. Yeah, like on this day last year when we called in. So
that's wild.
Thank you.
That's wild. So are you at, is it one of the RTJ courses?
We're at the Judge.
Okay.
By far the hardest, in my opinion, of the 3. I mean, the teams we're playing from, it's not awful. We're not playing great, but it's been
Chuck just dropped in an Eagle, so.
That's true, but you play 6-ems, it's 2 3s.
Gotcha.
And unfortunately, it's not the guy's fault, but I would say they're all beginners, and I'm not kidding you. On the second par 3, I put my tee in the ground with the ball on it, took 5 steps back, and had 2 people hit before I went, which I've never seen that before. I've been playing golf a long time.
Hey, that's the beautiful thing about playing golf. Sometimes you'll see something you've never, ever, ever seen before.
It's like, what is going on here?
Oh, goodness. Well, hopefully it's not, I'm sure it's pretty toasty out there, but sounds like the birds are chirping, and it's a nice day for golf.
Absolutely. Chuck, I don't know what he just said, but he probably said, you wish you could have seen that, Jay Henley, because he buried that Eagle putt down the hill. He said he'll be signing autographs later. So
nice. We're looking forward to it. Anything else you want to jump to football, or where do you want to go with this thing?
Well, no, I'll do a little preview for the golf.
Yeah. Only 70 players.
St. Jude Championship. This is an event that they've had for a long time. It just was under a different name. Remember, this was actually, I believe, a WGC event.
It used to be.
Quite some time.
Yep.
So used to limited player fields. All the biggest names are there. And it's a course that, again, kind of takes a little bit off the tee because it's really important to get the ball in the fairway and hit to the right landing spots. Par 70, around 100 yards. 35% of the shots are going to come from 125 to 175. These are some of the smallest greens on tour, so you need to be accurate with your irons. You're looking for, obviously, elite putters on Bermuda greens. And for the DK lineup, Scheffler's odds are plus 350. That's just that's too crazy for me. I don't mind playing him in DraftKings, but I do like Xander. He's 11-4. You can get him at about 6-1 to win. Doesn't really have a lot of history at this venue, but everything that you described, and he'd be accurate off the tee, good iron player, putt well on Bermuda greens. Those all qualify for Xander. Really like Corey Connors this week, 9,100. The Canadian, he's been playing great golf, top 25 his last 9 events. One of the best ball strikers on tour, and has really been playing well as of late. He had a top 10 at the U.S. Open, top 10 at the Scottish Open, top 25 at the Open, and then again a top 10 at the Olympics. You can get him about 30-1 to win and plus 550 to top 5. Looking at hopefully some good karma for our boy Billy Horschel. He's 8,500, 40-1 to win.
Been playing well too as of late.
He is. I loved the way he was supporting Aaron Rye last week. I think that's really cool, the way that you could tell he was basically being his cheerleader, that back 9. And obviously there was an incident that happened that I know Kuchar has been murdered for.
Yes.
I will say in Kuchar's defense, Ryan and them were incredibly slow that day.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Kuchar's frustration was from that. He should have said that, though, instead of, responding the way he did. But Horschel is a guy that definitely fits this golf course well. To your point, he's in great form, so I really like that. I mentioned Davis Thompson. He's 7,400, 60-1 to win. He's currently playing some of the best golf on tour, particularly in the States. His only 2 bad starts in his last 9 were both over the pond, and he is right now 2 runner-ups and a win in his last 6 events in the U.S., one of the top iron players on game from 125 to 175, very good on par 4s. I'm going to keep betting him each week. He was in contention last week, kind of stumbled, but still like what I've seen out of him. You got to have a Bulldog, Sepp Straka. He's 7,400, 60-1 to win. Again, he's picking a course that he needs courses that you have to be very accurate on the approaches because he's not a very good putter. Small greens typically help him in that situation. So you can get Straka against 7,400. And then rounding out the lineup, I really like Chris Kirk. He is, we joke about Bermuda Burns. You could say the same thing for Chris Kirk. He just excels on Bermuda courses. He has a great history at comp courses, which are like Pebble. He actually finished 26th at both Pebble and the Players, and those are the 2 courses that, in my opinion, are the closest comp to this venue. And then you just kind of want to take your shots in these events. These are 70, 50-player fields. I really like looking at the prop odds of somebody you like near the bottom of the range. So you can literally just look at DraftKings sometimes from 7K below, and if you see players you like, be sure to check out their prop odds because the winning odds for the top guys is pretty rough down the stretch because of the smaller fields. But I do feel like it gives you opportunities like Lucas Glover, who won this event 2 years ago at like 140 to 1. So you can definitely take your shots in these smaller fields.
Well, and two, the guys kind of on the back end of the FedEx Cup standings. I mean, they got to go. They got to go now, or otherwise they're not playing next week. So I feel like that kind of
a lot of money.
Yeah,
a lot of money.
A ton, and it means a lot for next year too. I would imagine. You know, depending on
the guys that went or getting to the top 50 are guaranteed into all the signature events. To your point, so that I mean that's huge,
big time money, like you said.
Yeah, it's like playing in like 11 majors when it comes to points and money, and you know that was my argument why I'm kind of against is that it makes it so much harder for the guys outside of that top 50 to crack in, because you can finish top 10 in one of those events and get just as much money as somebody who won an event, you know, earlier in the year that's not one of the marquee ones.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But, hey, it's here. The FedEx Cup rocks and rolls. It starts at TPC Southwinds up there in Memphis, Tennessee, Jay's former capital of the state of Tennessee. And then, of course, it moves on to the BMW Championship. Is that, where's that one at this year? Okay, that's in Colorado. Interesting.
That's a change, I think, venue.
Yeah.
This year, maybe they did it last year.
Did they do it last year?
I can't remember.
Because it used to be
definitely a new venue.
It used to be over there at Liberty National, one of the highest end private clubs up there in the.
I love that golf course.
Oh, it's cool. I had
you played it on Tiger Woods, but you know it was still.
There was a kid I went to college with. He did an internship up there at Liberty National. I never had a chance to go play, but super ultra high end.
He played it a good bit, right?
Yes, definitely. I mean, shoot, that's all you do at places like that, is just play golf.
Right.
You get a member that flies in a helicopter every once in a while and plays, but other than that, it's a different ball game, that's for sure. So yeah, it must be. It's at Castle Pines Country Club out there in Castle Rock Country Club, excuse me, out there in Castle Rock, Colorado. So interesting to see.
That was a mouthful. You did a very good job there, Ron. I would have messed that up pretty bad.
Thank you. And then, of course, up there in your neck of the woods, one of your favorite places to go play, that is East Lake Golf Club up there in Atlanta, the host of the Tour Championship for as long as I can remember. And then, of course, they switched the routing, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe more than that now. Time seems to be going by very fast.
Even though we are kind of feuding with them right now because remember that they didn't let Alan get credentials.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Now,
they,
Alan's big in the NASCAR scene now.
Senior PGA event that we could go to instead. It's like, are you serious? That's not what we want to go to.
Oh, I forgot about
Appreciate
that.
the invite.
Yeah, come on, Tour Championship. But, if you're going to watch, I always said, Tour Championship is just it's not a big field. Obviously, it's only 30 golfers, but you can get up close and personal with a lot of these guys and just kind of a cool spot to go watch. We made the trip over from the Aiken area a few times, before we moved down here to Florida, and just always enjoyed getting up close and personal with DJ and a lot of other guys, and it's a fun golf course to watch them play too.
Great place to take your wife and kids because seriously, even if you watch every single player go through, they're out there maybe 6 hours, so it moves really quick, and that's sometimes. At least I know the first time I took my wife to a golf tournament, she's like, how long are we going to be here? And it's like, I hope you brought your sunscreen because it's going to be a while. But at East Lake, you're talking 6 hours max. I usually show up and watch basically 4 hours because you can walk with some of the guys in the front and then basically just find a spot on the back nine and kind of watch everybody come through. But it's an amazing course. They did the renovation, which I'm really excited to see and hopefully play in the near future.
Was that the renovation? Was that new grassing?
They ripped it up. I think they even, if I'm not mistaken, changed a couple of holes. They're trying to get it back to the original design is what the website says. So they have not shared a lot of pictures of the actual progress. It should be finished. Just all of the grass they tore up, and it was significant. So very excited to see because that golf course was always in great shape. And it truly is just a wonderful layout. I've played it after the event and the sponsors deal, and man, that rough, you can't believe how good these guys are that they're hitting out of it, especially around the green and getting it up and down left and right.
No doubt. That's one of the things I remember from being there. And one of the few places that had I don't know what they're going to have now. It's pretty cool that they're doing all that. Anxious to see it. But, with Zoysia fairways, and then it goes into a Bermuda collar and a Bermuda green. And, just not something you see very often. Zoysia takes a little bit more because it grows so tight together. You got to aerate it a few more times. But, man, it's like playing on carpet up there, I can imagine.
Nothing feels better underneath your feet.
Yeah, it makes the walk a little easier too, a little more cushion there for sure. Now, was the rough? Was that Zoysia always as well?
I believe it was Bermuda because I've never seen Zoysia grass with that thick.
Yeah, you're right. Because it would sit down in the bottom of it, and you'd have to hit it off the dirt basically, but it looks like grass is over top of it. I still remember the first time I ever played, remembering playing in juicy Bermuda rough, because I grew up in the Northeast and it's all, bluegrass and fescues and ryegrass and even bent grass in a lot of places. And yeah, it's just a whole other ball game. That ball sits down at their bottom. You don't have a really good chance to hit it. That's for sure.
It's a lot like when you first move to the South and you deal with your first day where it's 90, but with 95% humidity. And you just can't believe a place can be that
hot, and you take a deep breath in and you just feel heat in your chest. Yeah, that was certainly a new thing, that's for sure. But Keith, we'll go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, talk maybe a little NFL action as you'll be gracing our presence here next week.
Sure.
All right, you guys hopefully are making some more Eagle putts. Keith Fleming on the line. You can follow him on X at Keith Fleming. That's 2 M's in Fleming. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdogs.
On the line with us, and we are looking for the phrase that pays. Caller, what's that phrase that pays?
Shop on.
Yeah, my man. Hey, way to go. Where are you calling from, bro?
I'm driving. Actually, I'm coming down 231.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday afternoon. The remainder of the day, sunshine and 95 with a gentle breeze out of the west around 9 miles per hour. For tonight, clear skies at a low near 80. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in the morning and then a possibility of thunderstorms and a high around 92. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Great design is timeless, and that's why Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves offers a stunning selection of vintage, antique, estate jewelry on sale now at 40% off. Exquisite Victorian rings, Art Deco diamond brooches, Georgian and Art Deco bracelets, earrings, and pendants. These one-of-a-kind pieces add personality to any ensemble, and now at 40% off. Find your timeless treasure at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves.
Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
Live from the 19th hole.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
It's the Inside Drive from the Bill Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studio.
The price is wrong.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As always, every Wednesday, we are joined on the line by our good friend, fantasy sports expert, that is Keith Fleming. Like I said, you can follow him on Twitter at Keith Fleming, 2 M's in Fleming, and he'll be there at the ESPN Northwest Florida Fantasy Football League. But don't ask him for any tips unless you're in a different league besides the Champions League, because I don't know. I think he would give you a tip either way, that is for sure. And they're out there playing some golf on the Judge up there in Alabama. Keith, a lot of injuries and crazy stuff going on right now in the NFL. Anybody's draft stock you're kind of worried about with the injuries? Nope. We might have lost him. Maybe they got a hole-in-one and they're celebrating.
He might be on mute. I got his phone on mute.
Oh, gotcha. Keith.
You're so smart, David. You read my mind from that far away. Pretty impressive. Yeah, I'm just a moron and forgot that I put my phone on mute. So
I would do the same thing if I was in your position and I'm out there playing golf. But I do love it. It sounds like we're, kind of at the Masters with all the birds.
And before I forgot that he was playing his terms, like, are you pumping in some bird music there in Atlanta? But no, he's out there on the golf course enjoying a beautiful day with his buddies.
And for the record, Augusta National does not pump in fake birds, everybody.
Nope, that is a myth.
From when I've been there, there's plenty of birds. So
absolutely.
The injury thing, like the McCarthy one, is one that honestly I was pretty disappointed in, because I think he's going to, I thought he was going to be the QB pretty quickly.
Yeah.
In Minnesota, but I really think that the main guy you're thinking about is Jefferson in this situation, and I just believe he's bulletproof. I mean, if you look last year, he basically put up the same numbers in the 4 full games he played with Kirk Cousins he did with Jared Hall and Nick Mullins. So I don't think it really matters who his QB is. He's going to be just fine. The Giants back Tracy. Interested to see what happens there, because I believe in Devin Singletary. Most people do not. So if you watch
Keith, are you on headphones?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind maybe being able to switch just to the regular phone? Because it's just kind of going in and out a little bit. And I want to make sure everybody can hear your valuable information.
Can I call you right back?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, he could have just not done it too, but he's so committed to the Inside Drive that he even does it when he's playing golf.
And this is important, right? I mean, fantasy football right around the corner.
Yes. And it's what we live for, right? Fantasy football.
And this Keith Fleming, and
Absolutely.
he does a great job at this. And also, he's in the Champions League. So if you want to find yourself into the Champions League, you might want to listen to what he has to say.
Absolutely. And if you want to find yourself relegated from the Champions League, then listen to me.
Or me. Because I'm not in either one of them.
Oh, man. But looking forward to it very, very much. Again, we'll give a quick shout out. We're waiting for Keith to give us a call back to Domino's Pizza.
Have you ever played in a 16-team league before?
No.
I'm kind of glad that I just kind of get to see how it plays out.
Just the draft alone has got to be like, because you're going to get deep. You're gonna get deep into like backup positions, not even like wide receiver 3s, but like 4s and 5s and running backs. And
I was going to make it a 2-quarterback league.
Ooh.
That would have made it impossible,
that
right?
Been wild. Or just scoop up. Yeah. No, that would have changed the strategy, that's for sure. But yeah, 16, I mean, and injuries are going to play even a bigger factor. Your bye weeks are even more important when you're playing in a league that size because there's not going to be a lot of guys to choose from if you have somebody go down or you forgot to pay attention to bye weeks when you did your draft and you've got 4 guys with the same bye week because you're just not going to be able to pull people that can, come in there. Even a 12-team league, it gets a little deep there. But yeah, I've never even touched close to 6. 12 is the biggest I've ever done.
I want to get back to the Champions League, though,
of course,
just so that I can maybe try to win. But it's going to be tough, man. It is going to be tough because you're going to have to be paying attention to the smallest of details on every single team.
Absolutely. And,
what if Keith just ditched us?
He might have.
I'll call you guys back tomorrow.
He's like, I got the information. Nope, not telling anybody. That is, that's for sure. But hey, we got him back. All right, Keith, appreciate you. I know you got a lot going on. You're playing golf and making you switch.
I had to make that putt, Ryan. That was big.
Yeah.
We're trying to fight through this. Okay.
You're on the come up.
We needed it after the start we got off to.
There you go.
Yes, we are on the come up.
There you go. But yeah, we were talking about injuries and potentially affecting some of the draft stock for some of these players, and I believe you were talking about J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I just was saying I really thought McCarthy was going to be the starter pretty early. I believe in his talent. I think he's the most pro-ready. And that doesn't mean he's going to be the best. Just I think he's the most ready to lead an NFL offense. It helps when you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and then she would be getting back T.J. Hawkinson. I believe looking at the schedule, probably week 4 was the earliest because they have, I can't remember if it's an early game or if they have an early bye, but it would just make sense with what they do to QBs. The running back in New York, Tracy, again, I'm somebody that I believe in Devin Singletary for fantasy where he's going. I just think he's going to get a ton of volume. If you look at his, history, he always catches passes, I think like at least 40 receptions each season. But if not, and Tracy's injury, first we heard it was catastrophic. Now they're saying we'll see. So if he ends up, only missing a few weeks or say the first month of the season, and again, you don't believe in Devin Singletary, I think Tracy's somebody you definitely should be trying to scoop up in your drafts because look at the volume that Saquon Barkley always got in that offense. Somebody's going to get it, and I'm actually probably in the minority, but I believe the Giants' offense is going to be better. Daniel Jones really wasn't healthy last year. I kind of liked some of the moves they made on their offensive line. Obviously, Malik Neighbors is an absolute freak. So I do think whoever is the running back in that offense will have some value, especially where they're going in drafts. But overall, I don't really pay a ton of attention to the preseason. I think that we get psyched out in a lot of situations because, let's be honest, most of the people that are playing, they're either just playing a series or two through the entire preseason, or it's the guys fighting to make the roster. Very rarely you see somebody end up becoming like a number 1 or number 2 receiver, during the preseason. And I just don't take a lot of stock in, what the results are. More, I like to listen to local reporters and stuff and what they're saying, about players in camp that are impressing, et cetera, because overall, I think coaches have an idea of, what their team's going to be at least those first few weeks of the season, and not much is going to change that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we said coming on the show on Monday is like, if you saw somebody in preseason that did really well, that's good for them. You don't need to really put any of that stock into your fantasy football league. Yeah, and really, like you say, you really don't know. You're not really locked in yet, especially on the DraftKings side of things, until week 3 or 4, where you're really starting to see where these guys are shaking out.
Yeah, you're taking absolute darts. The first couple of weeks, I mean, I'll do more multi-entry events the first few weeks because I feel like that you don't necessarily need to max entry in one of those to have a legit chance of hitting, because especially if you can make your lineup as random as possible. And what I mean by that is a lot of low-owned guys, and they all hit. People trend to certain players, especially once we get going a few weeks, and especially with how many people that follow people to listen to their plays and stuff. There's a lot of an echo chamber at times, and I feel those first few weeks are some of the best chances to hit it in the big events. Now, cash games, it's completely different, where I don't feel very confident until the 4th, 5th week, where I kind of feel like I can predict more of game scripts and, who can stop the pass and who's bad against the run and, what running back's getting the most touches, things like that, to where you can kind of get at least a floor for your idea of how many points your team will score and what you need to cash.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always developing. It's data, it's trends, it's all the things that matter with everything that you're doing. Me and David were talking about while you were draining, hopefully a birdie putt, maybe an eagle putt, but probably draining a birdie putt.
It was a birdie. I was pretty excited, man, because I've made nothing all day.
There you go.
It.
Yeah, you just need to get here on the inside drive, and then putts start falling. Chuck drops an eagle, and you drop a birdie. But we were talking about the Champions League is a 16-team league. Have you done a 16-team fantasy football league before?
I have. And to me, it kind of makes you swap up your, thought process a little bit, because you're honestly looking for, again, to me, not as many breakout people, but just people that are going to have a pretty decent floor, because with 16 teams, you got to nail your first few picks. I mean, it's pretty important in general, but especially when, there's that many choices in between your first and second pick. It really does kind of handcuff you. And I think people, you can do it one of two ways. You can either take a lot of shots. You just have to know that if you don't hit, like the more risky picks that you make, if they don't hit, it just puts you in a deeper hole.
Yeah.
Because there's so many players, there's not going to be as many people that are available on, waiver wires, and it just, it's a slog, but I love it, though, for a Champions League, because that's kind of what it should be. It makes it difficult for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. More challenging, no doubt about it. If you had an ideal pick, we'll just stick with the 16, then I'll ask you about the 12 after that. What pick would you want to have? Obviously, number one pick is one thing, but then you got to wait, 32 total picks before your next one? So what would be an ideal draft position for you in the Champions League, which has 16 teams?
I mean, I believe so much in CMC that I would probably want the number one pick. Take CMC, particularly in a 16-team league, and then just try to build my team from there, because I think I shared it with you. It's outrageous. It's almost 80% of his games since joining the Niners. He scored 20 or more points. Like 29 games, he scored 20 points. He scored at least 10 points in every game but one. He's just a machine, and especially in that offense. I know people are talking about Jordan Mason and everything else, but I still think he is, like, especially if it's PPR, it's an even bigger advantage, because he led the league as running backs and receptions on top of everything, and all the red zone touches. So I think he's the clear number one player, and in a big league, I would want to have him and then move on. Typically, I like in a 12-team league to be picking 12, because I love having back-to-back picks. It takes so much stress off of your decision-making, because even if it's 3-4 choices, you have to worry, like, is this guy going to be here when it comes back? And then I think it sometimes make you, kind of change your selection process and get you off the game, which is, it's almost like poker. You can get on tilt, when you're drafting sometimes.
Definitely. And I like that. I think we and Dave were talking about the other day, having that 12th pick. And then you can kind of take a little breather, because there's nothing you can do until your next one, knowing that, you've got some time, and whoever's off the board is off the board. I'm going to ask you specific. I did we talked about it, but I did a little best ball draft on DraftKings just to see what it was all about, and it was pretty cool, and I'm excited to see how it all shakes out. But, is there, we talked about Christian McCaffrey. Let's take him off the board. I know your strategy in a lot of ways, even the way running backs are paid in the NFL nowadays. It's, you don't put as much emphasis on them. But if you have a pick, let's say you've got the number 2 or 3, or let's call it 4 or 5 pick, and Breece Hall or Bijan Robinson is still available, do you have to take one of those guys just because then the drop off with you when your next pick would be is your running back would not necessarily, be versus is it those 3 guys and then there's a significant drop down after that? I guess that's my long-winded question.
I believe that the answer to that is yes, but CMC to me is the only one worth taking in the top 5 because I would rather have those receivers, the top 4 ones. It's just, again, we're going to take running backs from the Falcons and Jets and be confident their offenses are going to ball because offenses have to do well for a running back to excel. And I'm a Falcons fan. I'm as excited as I can be, but I don't trust them. I definitely don't trust the Jets. Look what happened last year. Everybody was all, jacked.
They're more jacked this year, yeah.
It's just like, I'm not falling for that. So I would rather take the Jefferson, the Chase, the Hill. I just think it makes a lot more sense.
So if the Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson are kind of available in that 6, 7, 8 area, you're taking one of those guys if the opportunity strikes?
Yes. We get that 8, 9 area, I would take them without hesitation. And again, it depends on the scoring setting because there are several tight ends that, I think Travis Kelce in PPR leagues is going to have a monster year. When you look at all the things that have happened in Kansas City, the fact that he was, injured, and if you look at his numbers his last 5 games, including the playoffs, that was Travis Kelce that we all expect. And Rashee Rice has got legal problems. Marquise Brown is new to the team, injury prone. Xavier Worthy new to the team. He's already been banged up a couple of times. I could see Kelce just getting a ton of targets, especially early this year, because he's kind of the one constant that Mahomes has in that offense other than Pacheco this season. He really only started throwing to Rice the last 7, 8 games last season. So I do love Kelce. I think he's an extreme value. But, you should, if you really think Breece Hall or Bijan's going to have a big year because of their pass-catching ability, you should take it. I think there's so much more risk in running backs. And to me, CMC is worth the risk because we see again, he's almost 80% of the time he's scoring 20 points. That's a big deal if you have somebody on your roster scoring 20 points every week. So I'll pull the trigger there. I'm a little bit more hesitant because they rarely fall into that range for me to take Hall and Bijan.
Yeah, absolutely. And and if you're in that 16-person Champions League and you got that number 1 pick, that could having a potential of 20 points every week, kind of not guaranteed because he could get hurt. That's one of those things. They put him on the Madden cover, and he's known to have been banged up before. So hopefully that doesn't happen because it's already been a little dicey with the Niners so far with some injuries so far this season. But we'll see what transpires. Before we let you go, Keith, where's Ayuk going to go? Is he staying or is he going to be a Steeler?
I've been saying he's going to stay, so I'm going to continue to say that. To me, it's weird that the deal has not been done, and the longer it takes, the more I'm confident that this is the Niners doing what they do, trying to get the best deal that they can with him. But I'll be shocked if they let Ayuk go, and it's not them getting, Pickens back. If they got Pickens back, I could totally understand it and draft pick. It makes sense, more of a rookie deal, a little bit longer. But I just think Ayuk is too talented to just kind of let go for a draft pick, which is, I think, kind of what the deal says right now.
Yeah, I think, and Jerry Rice posted, I talked about it earlier, but Jerry Rice posted that he's going to make a decision today. So we are, I guess, anxiously waiting. If the GOAT knows, then something's got to be coming out. Hopefully he influenced Ayuk to stay and play with the red and gold, that's for sure. All right, Keith, we'll let you go. I know you're playing some golf, and hopefully you guys can keep knocking those putts in, and we appreciate...
We're on a mini run since you've called, so that's good news. Chuck said we're officially on a mini run, and we're about to be on a run when we birdie this one. That'll be Eagle birdie.
There you go. Keep it going and have a lot of fun, and we look forward to, obviously we'll have you on Wednesday, but we look forward to seeing you in studio next Friday. Hopefully Jay will be here. You never really know with that guy.
I can't wait. With Jay, it is what it is. As long as he hangs out with us, I'm good.
There you go. Well, he's going to have to because he's going to have to be at the draft. But Keith, go have some fun. We appreciate you as always. That's Keith Fleming. You can follow him on X at Keith Fleming, 2 M's in Fleming, and he'll get you all the various fantasy information that you need. When we get back, final segment of this Wednesday afternoon, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you ready to go under the lights? Mosley Dolphin football is back. ESPN Northwest Florida brings you live play-by-play coverage all season long. With David Hayes.
Touchdown, Mosley Dolphins!
And Kyle Wright.
And the interception turns into points for the Mosley offense.
The Mosley Dolphins take on rivals Niceville, Rutherford, and the Bay Tornadoes. Exclusively on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Man, is it hot. Not only is the weather hot, the savings on name brand Western wear at That Boot Store is sizzling. During their 60th anniversary celebration going on now. Shop the hot deals in air conditioning comfort and be amazed at the tremendous selections of Carhartt work clothes and Western wear available at That Boot Store. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 until 5:30. Next to Bill Berkey at 15th Street, Panama City. That Boot Store where God is good all the time. Hey there, folks. Looking for a place that feels like home right in the heart of Panama City? Well, look no further than Charlie Corm's place at their new location on 15th Street. Charlie Corm's is not just a place, it's an experience. Imagine cozy corners, friendly faces, and the aroma of delicious dishes that'll make your taste buds dance. From sunrise breakfast to late night bites, Charlie Corm's on 15th Street has it all. Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street is now offering exclusive weekday lunch specials. Visit Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street. Look for the giant mural.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
The locals love him.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey, we're back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Appreciate you hanging out with us today. We'll finish this beautiful Wednesday, warm Wednesday, with a couple conversations. First, I'm going to ask David Hayes a question that Bleacher Report put out as a poll yesterday, and most of the Americans that read it, or whoever read it, think it's this gentleman. Tyreek Hill, he called out Noah Lyles a couple days ago and said he could beat him in the 100-meter dash. In high school, Hill ran the 100-meter dash in 10.19 seconds. That is 0.4 seconds, which in the 100-meter dash is a long 0.4 seconds, slower than Lyles ran his gold medal race on August 4th. Hill or Lyles?
I got to take the guy who's training for it. Right now, I got to take Noah Lyles, but if Tyreek Hill were to take, 4 or 5 weeks and continuously train on that 100-meter, I think I'd still take Noah Lyles by a step.
Yeah, just by a step.
That's what they do,
That's it.
It would be like, can Noah Lyles guard Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No, probably not.
He is a world champion, though.
That is true. But yeah, no, I thought that was interesting. Lyles,
he was very confident, though. I saw his response there.
He always is.
But Noah Lyles, said stuff about the Super Bowl and the NBA, like, "Oh, you guys aren't actually world champions because we're out here beating competitors representing the world, where you guys are just beating teams from America."
Yeah. Which essentially is, the best teams in the world, I guess you could say. But I get both sides of it.
We're going to find out come flag football, baby.
Absolutely. Flag football indeed.
It is 5-on-5, by the way.
Oh, it's 5-on-5, so it's the same as NFL flag. Interesting.
So maybe we just need to move to 5-on-5. around here,
and prepare for the Olympics.
Right.
Yeah. It's just there's so much space in 5-on-5
for a team like Dynasty. That's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I've been wanting to get to this one for a couple days, and with Jay not being here, we can't do our college football playoff. We can't do our wins loss. I was going to do Tennessee today. We still got several teams to do in the SEC.
Yeah, we might not make it.
I know it's getting down to the wire. I feel like I got a lot of time, but it keeps on ticking. I mean, next Saturday. It's time.
That's how I feel every year. Like, we got plenty of time. We got plenty of time because I'm trying to save all of this stuff because it's been such a slow content portion of the year. And, then you get there and you're like, dadgummit, we should have done more.
Absolutely. But, hey, we're excited it is going to be here. No doubt about that. Here are some interesting facts about rivalries and how often they are decided by just one score. A lot of rivalries they have listed on here. They've got Oregon, Washington, Iowa, Iowa State, SC, UCLA, Iowa, Nebraska, Army, Navy, Florida State, Miami, BYU and Utah, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Michigan, Michigan and Michigan State, LSU, Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, that's the Iron Bowl, Clemson, South Carolina, Notre Dame, SC, Michigan State, Ohio State, Kansas and Kansas State, Alabama, Tennessee, and then Georgia, Florida.
Well, let's start with the best rivalry out there, the Army-Navy game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The oldest, right? I think Yale and somebody else have a...
probably Yale and Princeton.
Yeah, I think they have an older one. But yeah, so I'm not going to make you guess because you're probably not going to remember all those. The most times it's that it's decided by one single score.
I'll say 23.
23.
How many times that rivalry has been?
They're doing it by percentage. I should have kicked that up. But
23%. No, it's got to be higher than that, right?
Oh,
56.
Yeah. 81%.
Oh, nice.
And this particular rivalry is the Red River rivalry. He's 81% of the time that game is decided by one score. Ooh.
Yale Princeton is the oldest one.
There we go. See, we kind of know what we're talking about.
1873.
Some breaking news about the injury to J.J. McCarthy.
Breaking news.
J.J. McCarthy out for the season. Vikings rookie quarterback underwent meniscus repair surgery this morning, and he has said he is going to be out for the season. The Vikings first-round quarterback underwent a full meniscus repair this morning and is out for the 2024 season, sources tell Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. The repair done by Dr. Chris Larson at the Twin Cities Orthopedics gives McCarthy the best chance at a long, successful career.
That makes sense because I was thinking at first
typically
with the meniscus, like what, 4 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, and it depends on if they had to repair the meniscus or they could just snip the meniscus in the issue, but apparently whatever they did was to preserve his playing ability for years to come.
And you got Jaren Hall back there.
Sam Darnold.
I'm telling you, man, who knows what could happen with those Minnesota Vikings this year.
And the only one thing with Sam Darnold is he's everywhere he's been when he was the starter, he hasn't had I think a top 32 wide receiver in fantasy scoring. But
he's got the best.
Now he's got Justin Jefferson. So
he's got Aaron Jones over there. Yep. The offensive line, you got to think, is going to be better than what he had over there with the New York Jets when he was seeing ghosts. And it's got to be better than his tenure with the Panthers. And if you look at his tenure with the Jets, it was a terrible record. But when he was with the Panthers, it was a little bit better. So now he's got another opportunity to start, and it could be even better with the Minnesota Vikings, or at least I hope so.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe it'll be the time for Sam to really shine. And he had some really nice things to say on social media about Brock Purdy, and he was talking about when he came in to the Niners last season on a one-year contract, and obviously he was behind Brock. He was just talking about how much effort and time this guy puts into preparing and studying and all that. And he said he's never really seen that out of some of the younger quarterbacks that he's been with before. So
that is actually very interesting.
That's
so
nice
and it just kind of goes to show people want to say whatever they want about Brock Purdy being a game manager. Well, he manages the game very, very well, especially with that phenomenal team that he's a part of.
Absolutely, and he put on a lot of muscle this offseason too as well. So we'll see what happens.
What happens when you come down to where was he for? Was it 4th of July?
I think it was 4th of July. They were over there in 30A in Destin.
Next year we'll camp out for him. He'll probably have a little bit bigger of a boat. Might have
I would think so.
Might own that boat. Might even.
Yes. Hopefully, if depending on what's happened. But he did. The reporters, you probably didn't see his press conference. I see a lot of Niner stuff. A reporter asked him about like the endorsements and stuff he's doing. He's doing a lot more commercials. He's got a lot more people sponsoring him. And he was asking me, your salary is, and Brock's like, it's, that's a lot of money. But yeah, this is the NFL, California. He's like, that extra stuff is certainly help paying the bills, so to speak.
And he's a simple type Iowa boy, right?
Yep.
So there's that.
Well, he's actually from Arizona, but he went to Iowa State. Yeah.
Well, but does he live up there? Not like, because I see him driving around in a tractor a lot.
I think that's where his wife's family is from, so they go up there to kind of get away from everything.
Do you think that this newfound money, the time that he's spending doing these endorsements, could affect his play?
I wouldn't think so.
Who was the quarterback?
I wouldn't think so, just because of the type
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Making way too many commercials.
Yep. Now, Baker got paid a lot more money early on, too, because of where he was drafted. But yeah, and people still ask, why do they give Brock so much stuff? And I simply think, the last thing I'll say about Brock, simply think it's because so many people got it wrong, and these people that hang their hats on being able to scout and tell people, where they should go in the draft, and because he was last and because he's done so well, people just can't swallow their pride and give him his flowers, because that proves that what they think is wrong.
Yeah, that's a real good point when it comes to the scouts, but also just people in general still like, oh no, I don't, yeah. He just manages the game. And I'm like, man, do you watch this guy run sometimes? He does what he's got to do to win the ball game, and that's all you can ask from your quarterback.
Yep.
And he's not losing you games, right?
No. I mean, the Ravens game on Christmas was rough, but you're allowed one every once in a while. That's for sure. All right, getting back to the rivalries decided by just one score. 81% of the time, the Texas-Oklahoma Red River rivalry is decided by one score. Next is Army-Navy. And that makes sense. 80% of the time, it is decided by one score. Then next, you have Nebraska and Iowa, 80% of the time, decided by one score. Historically, those two matchups, run heavy. And Nebraska passed a lot before, but Iowa doesn't score a lot of points. Army-Navy, they typically run the triple option. So you're just going to have a lot closer games when it comes to that kind of stuff.
It's funny because I end up watching Iowa and Nebraska quite a bit because it's one of those ones on rivalry weekend that is early in the morning. You know what I mean? It's like kind of Ohio State. Wait, actually, I think they play that on Black Friday.
They do.
So that's why I get to see a lot of it.
Yeah, because the Ohio State-Michigan game is typically
Saturday.
Yeah, and the Saturday 11 o'clock our time. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right, next, with 70% of the time, that is Florida State and the U. 70% of their matchups are decided by just 1 point. Next on the list, Utah and BYU, 66% of the time. Oregon and Washington, 60% of the time.
That's kind of a big drop-off, right? From like 80, now we're in the 60s already.
Yep, and then it starts to really start going the other way. Iowa State and Iowa, 55% of the time it's decided by one score. And then now you get to the other side where more often than not, it's decided by more than one score. SC and UCLA, and I can imagine probably that's the recent, probably last 20 years with SC and UCLA.
43%. 40.
Right there, though. Next, with 40%, is Oklahoma and Oklahoma State University. 40% of the time, they're within one score. So more often than not, they are not within a score. And then the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss and Mississippi State, 40% of the time. Michigan State, 40% of the time. Alabama, LSU, 40% of the time. And here we go, going to the opposite side, where it's way more often than not, it's decided by more than one score. That is Florida and Florida State. Alabama and Auburn. Florida State was 33%. Auburn and Alabama was 30%. Clemson and Carolina is 22%. Notre Dame and South Carolina and Southern Cal, 22%. And then we've got Kansas State, Kansas, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Ohio State. They're all 22% or less. Which one do you think is the least amount of times it's decided by one score out of those four? Let me say it again.
Yeah, real quick.
Kansas State, Kansas, Alabama, Tennessee, Michigan, Ohio State, or Florida, Georgia.
Oh, man. Florida, Georgia used to be a lot tighter than what it's been as of late. I'm going to go Alabama, Tennessee.
Alabama, Tennessee is at 20%, not the lowest. And Kansas State, Kansas is also at 20%. So that leaves Georgia, Florida, or Michigan, Ohio State being the least amount of times decided by one score.
I got to go Georgia, Florida.
10% of the time.
Wow.
Decided by one score.
That's wild.
And I think that's the trends, right? When Florida was so dominant, and now Georgia the last 4 or 5 years has been pretty dominant. And Michigan, Ohio State, 22% of the times it's decided by one score.
So 10%.
10%
Georgia and Florida.
It's within
the next
a score.
closest one is 22%.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a pretty significant jump, but
it is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what what the PC version is, but the world's largest cocktail party. No doubt about it. Coming up here, we'll see what that's always the second to last week in October, something like that, before Halloween. Jay would know off the top. It's like the one college football stat he knows, but
it's sometime in October.
Yeah, definitely.
So many rivalries just kind of floating around in my head right now.
Yeah, I mean, and now you're going to have a lot more rivalries kind of developing as the conference realignment has changed a little bit. I could see Oregon jumping into some rivalries potentially with, Ohio State.
Ohio State for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because they've played the last 2 years, home and home?
I don't know if it's been the last 2 years. I think that they just played that 1 year in 2021 maybe?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And Oregon got the better of them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, you got all this new conference realignment. It's going to change some things for some rivalry games.
But also on the flip side of that, we're going to lose some of the rivalries that we've grown to love. So, but we get Texas A&M and Texas back.
That's the one I was just thinking about.
Yes, sir.
What, 24 years?
It's been a long time, over 20 years. And now you got the whole element with the baseball coach, Jim Schlossnagle, going over there to Texas. I'm so excited for that game.
Rivalry renewed.
Yes,
both
sir.
who would have thought, 20 years ago, both of and I don't know when Texas A&M came in, probably not 20 years ago, but who would have thought?
2014, I believe.
Okay, so only 10 years ago. So who would have thought that Texas A&M and Texas would both be in the SEC, here in 2024?
Now we got to kind of contemplate Florida State and Clemson, or what do some of these other bigger schools that are still in these smaller conferences do? What happens with the ACC? Does Notre Dame join a conference?
Yeah.
I mean, I think here this year we'll get a idea, but we're going to be at a 14-team playoff before we know it.
They're already talking about it. At 14,
I think they've already instituted it.
I think it's been approved. Yeah, why not go to 16? 14 is such an odd number, and it's probably has something to do with the buys and all that. But it's not it's divisible by an odd number.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like 12, 16 stuff that just makes sense.
Let's just go to 64.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just play a little March Madness. Everybody plays.
Forget the regular season.
It's just like playing Ultimate Team games on either 2-minute quarters.
Luck of the draw.
And you just hope for the best.
2-minute quarters. There you go.
Hope for the best. Well, appreciate you tuning in. Jay will be back tomorrow. Looking forward to getting him back in studio. We'll have Coach Griffin at 11:20 from Arnold High School. Look forward to talking to him about the upcoming Kickoff Classic and the Arnold Marlins football season. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4 p.m. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is designed specifically for sports fanatics like you. The sports content you demand is always on. Live stream our national and local sports talk anywhere you go. Reach us on all social media. You can also be a part of the show. Call and text into our studios. Plus, up-to-the-minute weather and traffic maps. The new app from 104.3 ESPN.